podcast, Buck 69, totally geared to what's going to take place tonight. Down the street a little bit at Allegiant Stadium, it's the redhead Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Bud Crawford. Big fight, which means we're going to put a lot into it. We have gathered a plethora of pugilistic talent and experts. We've assembled, well, let's get to it. So we're going to have some trainers on. Our good friend Tommy Yankello to kick things off. Abel Sanchez, who knows a thing or two about the redhead. He had 2 fights against him with Triple G when he was the trainer of Gennady Golovkin. Mm-hmm. And after that, we'll hear from referee Harvey Dock. He won't be working the main event, but he's worked 2 of Canelo Alvarez's fights against Charlo Berlanga and 1 Bud Crawford fight in his signature fight against Errol Spence. And then it's a fighter fest, right? We've gathered a fabulous Fistic 5 Rougarou, Regis Prograis, the Pocket Rocket, Wayne McCullough, El Diamante, Raul Marquez, the Pittsburgh Kid, Paul Spadafora, and that Flushing Flash, Kelley. And they'll be looking at it from the ways of former world champions. And then it boils down to Lee Groves, and me. A lot to cover. Are you ready for this? And have you actually, because we're not normally given to vacillation, ambiguity, or ambivalence, but we've both been going back and forth. Do you have a pick?
I do have a pick, and one other element is that we dug into the archives of your show, and we got, this is a fight that has been compared to Leonard versus Hagler because of the Sugar Ray Leonard rising up in weight, fighting a heavier world champion, and we're going to tie it all together. I don't know about the other shows, but I doubt that we'll cover this fight with all the different angles and all the different perspectives that we do.
Yeah, well, I think this fight, I don't know if artistically or fistically it'll be a barn burner or something like that. But Hagler Leonard really wasn't.
It was a suspenseful fight. Can Ray do it? Can he go all 12 rounds? Yeah. Can Terence Crawford go all 12 rounds? Can he fight perfectly like Sugar Ray Leonard did?
Yeah.
There you go.
So a lot to cover, and we'll get to it. We'll kick things off with Tom Yankello from the World Class Boxing Gym. It's Canelo-Crawford. We'll be back.
I got 2 options. Option 1, I can accept defeat. Option 2, I can get up. I can get tougher. I can get faster. I can get stronger. And then I go get mine. I made my choice. Have you made yours?
Back in this corner, the podcast, Buck 69, Canelo-Crawford. We have to have on a guy who can break it down as good, if not better, than anybody in boxing. He is from the World Class Boxing Gym, Tom Yankello. Tommy, how you doing?
Great. How are you guys?
Good. You got a lot going on. We know this is going to be a quick segment. We're taping this a little bit before the fight. This is when people are watching this, it's fight day. But get us up to speed with what you got going on, and then we'll get into fight night.
Okay, great. Well, it would have been last Friday, but this Friday coming up here, I got a Keith O'Burlton fighting. He's my light heavyweight. He's ranked number 6 in the WBA, and he's fighting Challenge Sims. Believe he's a 10 or 11-1 other prospect, and they're fighting in Bethlehem, PA. So we're getting ready for that. And then the fight night, which is tonight, I got Ivan Ditchko fighting Jermaine Franklin on the Terence Crawford Canelo undercard at Allegiant Stadium.
Has Ditchko been training with Overton? Do those guys get sparring together?
A little bit. Yeah, Teef's a little, he's got the same height, but he's a southpaw, so it wasn't really the work that we needed as far as we're fighting a right-hander. But yeah, they always work a little bit together.
Good, good.
Yes.
Lee knows a little bit about this, Jermaine Franklin. Lee?
Yeah, Jermaine Franklin's a veteran. He's known for his durability. How do you perceive Franklin, and what does he bring to the table?
I mean, I think a good fighter. I mean, he's been a fringe guy, a fringe kind of contender. He fought Joshua, very competitive. It was a competitive fight. Joshua won 8 rounds to 4, I think, on the cards. But then I watched the Dylan White fight, and I kind of felt like he actually beat Dylan White.
Mm.
And I think that was a better Dylan White than we just seen recently. So, I mean, that was a few years back when he fought Dylan White. I believe that was 2022 or 2023. So, he's beaten everybody else outside of the fringe contender, out of being a fringe contender. So he's a solid guy for sure. I mean, he's fought the better competition as a professional, as far as we our competition. But Ivan has fought just about everybody in the amateurs. He's had over 200 some amateur fights. He's, like I said, 2-time silver medalist in the world championships, 2-time bronze medalist in the Olympics. So he brings that amateur experience, and Franklin brings the pro experience. Yeah, he's a solid guy. Nothing that we're underestimating at all. It's the biggest step up we've fought for sure. I mean, but it's like, it is what it is. As far as we're 30. Ivan is 35. We got this opportunity. It takes what it takes, and we'll be prepared for the opportunity.
And it's on a grandiose stage too, which is great.
Yes, for sure. Can't ask for a better platform and the opportunity, for sure.
For those of us who haven't seen him fight before, describe him to us. What does he do best? What do we look for when we watch him fight?
Well, I think Ivan for a big man, is very well rounded. I mean,
he's 6'9", right?
Yes, and he can fight on the inside if he has to. Of course, he has been able to. If you watch the last couple of his fights, he knows how to keep his range, keep you on the end of it, just like all the other big men. He's very good at that. But I believe that he moves very well for a guy, big guy like that. I mean, I think Tyson Fury kind of moved very good at one point, but I think he kind of lost the step with that. But I think Ivan still has he's very good, mobile, and he has great power. I mean, he's got 93% knockout rate. So, I mean, we haven't fought the top level of contenders that we've been doing that to, but I mean, he has good power. He's got good power in both hands. His right hand is where he's probably the most powerful, but he's just a well-rounded, schooled guy for that big. I mean, he doesn't move like a heavyweight. He moves more like a light heavyweight. He really has good movement. If you watch any of his amateur days, that's what he was. He was a guy that moved a lot and boxed, for 3 rounds. Of course, as in the pro style, you have to slow that pace down. You can't move. So that's what I've tried to, I've developed in him and honed him to be able to slow the pace down and, put things together to the point where, you're not going to be on your bike all night. So he was a big guy that was very, very mobile in the amateurs and moved a lot. Mm-hmm. Still has, that mobility, but it's a lot more refined, and I've settled him down to the point where he's become a better puncher. It's like, I remember Emmanuel Stewart saying that Tommy Hearns wasn't a puncher in the amateurs. He was a mover. He was a boxer. And then he settled him down and he became a puncher. So that was kind of what I did with Ivan. I kind of settled him down. He was a lot moving a lot. But, it's very hard to do that in the pros for the period that you have to be fighting, 10 rounds, 12 rounds. So I've slowed him down. I've worked on developing the punching power he's going to have to also slow these guys down. When a guy gets hit with a good shot, then he's not so ramped up to turn up the pace on you because he's hesitant.
I'm gonna bring up too. This is why everybody should check out, if you're a boxing person, if you're a fighter, and if you're a trainer wannabe, I would highly recommend you watch Tommy's stuff, all of his stuff, because nobody again breaks it down. On In This Corner, my television show with my 65 in-ring segments, we weren't able to, I was lucky enough to have the fighter in there going over the techniques and what made them champions and legends. But what Tommy does is he really takes you through, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, and how to do it. And I would think a guy like that, the fact that you can take a guy with all that height and reach, settle him down to where he maximizes his power, and then he can do stuff on the inside, kind of like a Riddick Bowe could do.
Right.
That really gives testament to you, and why this is just me saying for people really check out the World Class Boxing Gym, because it's world class. Go, Lee. I know you're almost done here.
Well, speaking of breaking down fights, let's break down the big fight between Canelo and Crawford.
And before we hold it, then before we do that, then before we break them down, I want him to size them up for us. Where do you see, and then I'll flip it to you, Lee, I promise. Where do you see these guys right now? Size them up. Crawford, of course, is just about 38 years of age. He's a tiny bit taller. He's got 4 inches in reach on Canelo, who's younger but has a far larger resume and might be a little more shop worn. Where do you see these guys right now before we actually get you to break it down?
Well, it's such a hard thing to figure, because the reason I say that is because Crawford's been somewhat inactive, and he is older than Canelo. So you worry about that if I'm, on his team and stuff like that, because I feel like he's been a little bit more weight. He's had 1 fight since he fought Spence. He is the older fighter. However, I believe Canelo is a little bit going on the downside as well. I think he's going on the downside from what you've just visibly been able to watch, I don't think he's quite as defensively as good as he was. I think he's a little bit more slowed down with his feet, a little easier to hit. And that's because, I don't think that's even because of age. I think that's because when he started professional boxing, he was 15 years old. So being that he's even though he's younger than Crawford, I feel like he may be the guy that's more worn, fight worn, So it's probably pretty much the age thing is probably because it's a wash because of that. Even though Crawford's older, you have Canelo's a little bit more fight worn. So I think you got a pretty much even fight as far as that goes. Now you have to break down what do you think these guys do to defeat the other?
Right.
What do they do best? I just see Crawford as probably good enough to not get knocked out by Canelo. Like, I don't think he's as slick as Mayweather was to not get hit, but like Mayweather really schooled Canelo with that. That was a different Canelo, in my opinion. I think that was the opposite of what we're looking at now. I think he was actually too young at that point. And I also think that people don't ever take into consideration that Floyd Mayweather was the only guy that was able to manipulate boxing so much that he made Canelo fight. He fought for Canelo's title and made Canelo make 152 pounds. So that was not the Canelo that was even fighting at that time at 154 and was having a hard time at 154. People don't realize what 2 pounds does, but he did. Floyd did. He knew what 2 pounds does. It's like if you're on a bench and you're struggling and someone puts 2 more pounds on, it's going to go through your chest.
Yeah.
So what happens when you're cutting weight? It's just like my light heavyweight. He's a big light heavyweight. To make 175 is very hard. If I try to make him 173, he's not going to have anything left. So Floyd knew that when he fought Canelo. So that Canelo is kind of like, I don't even take that Canelo into consideration. That's not the one that Crawford's fighting. Actually, Crawford, even though he's fighting an older Canelo, he's a stronger Canelo. I think he's a better Canelo than Floyd fought. So I think that I think with that being said, this is just a really tough fight to pick. It's really, really close. But I think that Crawford's good enough boxer to fight this strong Canelo and not get knocked out. Without getting knocked out and it goes the distance, I think he's also good enough to score the victory on points. I just think it's a super close fight, probably a really great action fight too, because I think that Crawford is more hittable than a Mayweather. And he's going to get hit a little bit more, but I think he has a little bit more power as well to get the respect of Canelo. I know Canelo's been fighting some bigger punchers, so it's not that he's going to knock Canelo out or really hurt him, but it's like even when Spadafora fought, people thought like, oh, I can just walk through this guy because he has no knockouts. No, he hits you with shots you didn't see. And those are the shots that stun you, hurt you, and get your respect. Even if they don't hurt you, they make you leery. They make you hesitant. And that's all that a guy like Crawford, who's as good as he is, needs, is for a guy to respect his power and be hesitant towards it. So I think that he's got enough to get his respect. He's got enough to keep him hesitant, enough to just squeak out a win. But I think it's action-packed because I think it's still not enough power to keep Canelo to getting to him. I think Canelo's going to have his moments in that fight throughout that fight. But I think I think it's actually going to live up to the billing. I think it's a great action fight. And the only thing that bothers me about Crawford is, like I said, the inactivity. And I think that just the unconventional wisdom that people think that they need to put on more muscle.
Well, you're answering all my follow-ups. So hold that, and I'll let you follow up. But because you just led me right into what I was going to ask you. Actually, I'll ask it after Lee says something. Then I'm going to follow up on your point. Lee, go ahead.
Well, my final question really is, if you were running Crawford's camp, how much should he weigh?
Great question.
That is a great question. I would let it, again, I think I let the fighter tell me where it should be. In other words, I just think it's good food and hard training, and I don't think that you should try to add anything. I don't think that I don't think you should try to cut anything. I mean, the weight is 168, correct?
Correct.
So the last fight he was 154, and we know that he doesn't walk around at 54 when he fought at 54 or 47. So I just think that you just make sure he makes the weight. I think you bring him in where he's comfortable. I don't think you try to say, well, he's got to be 68 because Canelo's going to be big. Because if he tries to win on being big, it never happens. It's like what people think when I used to tell my guys all the time that were heavyweights, you think that you're going to lift weights and be bigger and stronger than Klitschko. You're not. You're going to slow yourself down, and then he's going to be able to use his strength even more because you're never going to be as strong as the big guy. You have to have all them other attributes, like my smaller heavyweights. Like that was the biggest problem that I had with Brian Minto, where he was coming in. He was top 10 heavyweight at one time, and he was fighting fantastic, like a Vander Holyfield. He was a 210, 212, and then he got his manager and all these outside voices got in his ear you got to get bigger and stronger. And he went up to 225, and he wasn't half the fighter. Yeah. And then it didn't help him any. It didn't help him any because now you're 225. All you did is take away your attributes of being more agile and being able to be a better boxer and better mover. So now you're 225. Now if Klitschko used to push down on those little guys' heads, now you're 225. It doesn't matter. Now he's really going to push down on your head because you can't get away like you used to.
Yeah. It's a great point. It's a great point. I saw the same thing happen to David Tua. I thought there was a point where they muscled Tua up too much, and all it did was take away his elasticity. It slowed down his left hook. I've been watching not a lot of stuff, but what I can see about Crawford is I see he's got the snack people in there, and he's doing all these weights and different things, which are great for a defensive back or a wide receiver or a linebacker I've seen some fighters do it effectively with Mackie Shilstone. With Mackie, I've seen it done, but I question it. And he did not look good against Madrimov. No. And if he puts on more weight and with all that muscle, that's my concern, if in fact that's what's happening.
Right, and then that would make a different story. So that's why I'm kind of saying it's a very hard fight to pick. Because, I always like to talk to people about boxing as far as if they've studied the history of these guys that went up in weight and won, it wasn't about putting on muscle. Sugar Ray Leonard never put muscle on to beat Marvin Hagler. Roberto Duran, he looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy when he fought Iran Barkley. He didn't put on no muscle. He was 135 pounds with baby fat all over him after, and he outboxed because his skills pay the bills.
Yeah.
Floyd went up all those weight classes, and he was just the fighter that he always was. He could probably still, when he was fighting at 47, make 35. So, it was that putting on actual muscle, what it does is it even disrupts you and has tortious interference on all your muscles. It's like I always say that Tiger Woods got injured because he went to the weights. All of a sudden, when he went to the weights and got all big, when he was a rail, he was winning the Masters by 17 strokes. As soon as he started putting on all that muscle around 2008, 2009, his swing started to break down, and he tore his knee up. He hurt his back. You know what I mean? Because you're swinging muscle that your body's not used to now. All that bulk of that muscle is something your body is naturally not supposed to carry. Like Roberto Duran never carried extra weight that he wasn't. Ray Leonard never did. And they went up in those weight classes and won those fights. So, to me, I mean, the old timers we know, like Ray Robinson and Ezra Charles and Archie Moore, and these guys, they never went to the weights,
And by the way, I think you'll agree with me on this. This fight, if Crawford wins this fight, and by the way, folks, we'll hear from some others. We'll have a plethora of pugilists on a panel at the end here, and I'll make my pick when I give my pick. One of the things I'm going to say that I'll just say now, I think that if Crawford wins the fight, it's going to be just as much his two legs and his feet as it is his hands. I think he wins this fight with movement, and that's where, again, being at a comfortable weight, I think works in his behalf, where he can have that movement. Not like Floyd. You don't have to move like Floyd, but just having the dexterity of, I think his feet and his legs are just as important as his arms and his hands, in my opinion.
Pliability is the most important thing in boxing. If you really know the true art of boxing, it's pliability. It's not strength and muscle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But relaxed muscles are better than contracted ones.
Well, listen, it sounds like you, like me, there's some vacillation and ambiguity with this fight, but it sounds like your pick is going to be hell of a fight. Crawford's skills pay the bills, and he wins a decision. Hitchko gets a knockout, and Tommy Yankello's smiling in Las Vegas tonight.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Anything else, Lee? You can get him out of here?
So it is Crawford on points, correct, Tommy?
I'm going to take it. Yeah, I'm going to say very, very close. Split decision or unanimous or whatever. One or 2 point fight. Maybe someone has the other guy winning, or it's a majority draw, a majority decision. I see it being really, really close. I think it's just, I think it's a squeaker. I think Canelo's going to have, like I said, fight's going to be super competitive. I think just going to pick Crawford to edge him out.
Okay.
All right. We'll go with that. Back with more Crawford, Canelo, Crawford. More in this corner, the podcast. Thanks to Tommy Yankello. Check out the world-class boxing gym. We'll be back.
I got two options. Option one, I can accept defeat. Option two, I can get up. I can get tougher. I can get faster. I can get stronger. And then I go get mine. I made my choice. Have you made yours?
Back in this corner of the podcast, a $169. Boxing's biggest names, boxing's biggest stories, boxing's biggest fights, greatest memories and moments. We do it all. And this one is a big one. We got a pretty big fight to talk about. And I think somebody that's joining us now is a great one to talk about it. He certainly knows a thing or two about the redhead Canelo Alvarez. He is outstanding, and I can't say retired trainer anymore. He is outstanding trainer, Abel Sanchez. Last on with us about 3 years ago. You were retired. You were ready to just hang out at the summit and write documentaries or whatever. Tell us how you got back in. How did the sweet science grab you and pull you back, Abel?
Well, I figured out that I wasn't going to make it on the PGA Tour.
Okay.
I was playing plenty of golf, and I got a little impatient, I guess. And then I got a call from a young man named Philip Hergovic, who wanted to talk to me about coaching him. And we talked for about a month, a lot of discussion about training habits and training methods and stuff like that. And we finally came to an agreement. I started working with him in September. Then I got a couple other fighters. And before I started working with him, though, I went searching for a building to set up a gym up here in Big Bear, since I had sold my other one to Jaime. And in the process, I found me a piece of property, and I bought it, and it had a warehouse in it, a warehouse type building. So my gym's almost finished. I'd say I'm 95% done, but unfortunately, I've been traveling a lot because of the fighters that I've acquired. So I haven't been able to finish it, but it's almost finished.
Awesome.
Right now we're working at Jaime's, my old gym, Jaime's gym. So.
And what fighters are you working with now? I know you're going to be quite busy, fight week here.
Yes, I have obviously Philip, and then I have Mo Alakel fighting on the main card, on the undercard, and then I have one young man making his pro debut, another Saudi pro debut on the what do they call that? The second part of the undercard, I guess, and then
The
one
prelim.
fighting on Wednesday, also another Saudi.
When when we last had you on, and I didn't even plan to ask you these questions, but what did you miss most about boxing while you were away, and what did you miss least about it?
I missed the gym. I miss the camaraderie of being in the gym with the fighters and coaching and watching them grow. What I least missed about it, actually, I've always enjoyed the heck out of everything about it. The business end of it is a little difficult sometimes, but I've always enjoyed all aspects of it.
Okay, and so Lee, you're going to take us into this breakdown of Crawford and the redhead.
Well, if anybody knows how to prepare a champion for a big fight, it is Abel Sanchez. You've trained more than a dozen world champions. And you were Gennady Golovkin's chief second for the first two fights against Canelo. So,
Both of which I thought that he won, by the way.
correct. We
But
both
what do
think,
I know?
yeah,
I'll go to my grave thinking that too.
yeah. So we're all in agreement there. So when you were doing a deep dive into Canelo's style, what aspects did you pay most attention to as far as formulating the game plan?
Well, Lee, I've always been the type of coach that I'm going to coach my guy to be 100%. I don't care what the other guy does. I know what I got to do with my guy to make him 100%. If I start adjusting, I've always believed that if I start adjusting for the other guy, then my guy's not 100%. So I have to prepare my guy to be who he is and the best that he can be. Yes, you make some little adjustments or additions, I should say, to your game plan, so that way you can capitalize on his mistakes and stuff like that. But my biggest thing with Canelo was that you have to press him. You have to press him. You cannot allow him to get started. You got to keep him backing up. You got to keep him thinking. And if you don't, and we didn't do as good a job in the second fight as we did in the first, and if you don't, he gets his motor running and it's difficult to stop him. He's a strong guy. He's learned a lot since those two fights, by the way, I think, anyway. He's improved a lot. And Bivol proved that my theory was right. If you back him up, he's not the same guy.
But now we're talking about Terence Crawford, who's moving up 12 pounds, or more than that, 14 pounds, 21 pounds from welterweight. Uh, we don't really envision him backing Canelo up. So if you were in Crawford's corner, what would you tell him to do?
He's got a great corner, first of all, but I would say that both guys are Hall of Famers. Both guys are great fighters. But if I was in Crawford's corner, I would think that I had to keep him busy. I'd have to keep switching from right hand to the left hand and keep him guessing, keep him not so much backing up, but just thinking, just never allowing him to get two thoughts together to be able to do something. But that's 12 rounds. That's a long time to do that.
Mm-hmm. And Crawford has been out of the ring for a while. He didn't look particularly great against Madrimov. He's been building up his body since then to accommodate the heavier weight, but he also wants to maintain his speed. Do you think that he can pull that off?
Well, all coaches have different ideas on how to do this. In my opinion, I think that he made a mistake. If it's true what we see on the internet and the weights that, I think he made a mistake by going up and then coming back down. If it had been me, I would have kept him at 68, 72, somewhere in there. So that way he doesn't have to lose any weight. Why have to sacrifice losing weight and give away all that work that he's done in the gym? At least that's my opinion. Anyway, I would have kept him at 68, 72, 70, 72, somewhere in there, and just have a dry out period on Thursday night or before the weigh-in, and that way he makes the weight comfortably instead of having to lose weight. So I don't think he'll be as fast. I don't think he'll be as mobile. But that won't be the difference. For me, the difference will be that Canelo's used to hitting big guys and he's used to getting hit by big guys. And I don't think Terence has had that opportunity. If he'd have fought a couple 168 pounders and 175 pounders, maybe then I would say that he's used to it. He can do it in the gym all he wants, but when you put the small gloves on, take off the headgear, and you got a crowd of people there cheering you on, it's a different story.
You know, and also, Abel, and I know Bud quite well, know Canelo quite well as well. Crawford is really, the mindset is not like Mayweather. I think at his core, Crawford's a fighter. He's a fighter. I don't know if he can be totally disciplined for 12 rounds just to eke out a fight. Where I see him perhaps getting into trouble is turning into Bud Crawford, the one that produced 10 straight knockouts. Can he be, in your opinion, disciplined for 12 rounds against the redhead?
You know, that's why he's a Hall of Famer, because he is a warrior. And it's going to be difficult to maintain that sense of reality, I want to say, because the other guy is a lot bigger. But if he can, he may got a decision, but I don't think he can. I think Canelo will force him to fight, and Canelo will pound the arms and pound the body, and eventually he's going to slow him down. And I think it'll be a firefight. And in a firefight, Bud he's going to land his shots. Don't get me wrong. He's going to land his shots because he's a great fighter. And the first 2 or 3 rounds are going to be difficult for Canelo because just like with Golovkin and Kell Brook, the speed, you have to assimilate the speed. And once Canelo does that, it's going to be difficult for Bud, I think, anyway.
Are you concerned about Canelo's foot speed? Because in the last fight against William Skull, he had trouble cutting off the ring. Do you have those concerns for this fight?
No, because I think that the mentality of Skull and the mentality of Bud Crawford is totally different. I think Crawford is a warrior. He's not going to let Canelo back him down. Are you kidding me? He's not going to run from Canelo. He's going to beat him up. That's what he's thinking. So no, I don't think that he'll have an issue with that because I think it's 2 different fighters. Skull wanted to survive 12 rounds.
True. And would you have Bud weigh in at the full 168, or would you want him to weigh in lighter, 62, 63?
I go back to what I said a little while ago. I wouldn't have allowed him to get up that high, and I would have weighed in at his natural weight, which have been 68, 70 if I would have had him, or 68 or 60, at the limit, if I would have had him there for the whole training period of 8 weeks that he had, or 10 weeks, whatever it is that he had. So he wouldn't have to lose any weight. So he just steps on the scale. He's been eating well. He's been working hard. There's no sacrifice in trying to make weight.
You know, earlier we heard from Tommy Yankello, the outstanding trainer, and Tommy he's old school, doesn't like all the stuff that maybe Snack is doing with Crawford, the weights and all the different pumping iron and all that stuff. He feels that might slow down his mobility. Do you have a thought process on, all the other things that the fighters of today are doing with weights and what have you?
Well, in the 40-some years that I've been doing this, I've never had a strength and conditioning coach, never had a nutritionist. I've never had anybody wrap my guys' hands. I do that myself. I work my own cuts, as you saw in the Philip Hrgovic fight. So I agree with him. I think that all those things are detrimental to a boxer. Now, it may be great for a football player or a basketball player or a wrestler, but to a boxer, I think that those things are going to not only slow him down, but going to bulk him up. I think that Joshua had that issue at the beginning. I don't know if they took him off of that, but he was a little tight. And but listen, there's 68 world champions. There's 4 organizations. There's 68 genius coaches out there that think their way is the only way, and everybody's got a way, man. If it works for them, great. But I don't think it's beneficial to a boxer.
I agree with you 100%. All right, so it sounds like I don't want to put words in your mouth. Sounds like you see Canelo winning the fight.
I see Canelo winning a fight probably by 4 or 5 points. I see Bud giving him trouble at the beginning. I see Bud putting up a great fight. He's not going to embarrass himself. The warrior that he is, he's going to put up a fight. But I think the weight and the strength will be the issue for Bud. He won't be able to muscle Canelo around after maybe the 7th or 8th round.
You see it being a decision? You think it goes to the scorecards?
Yeah, I think Bud is. I don't think Canelo will knock him out. I don't think Canelo will try to knock him out. I think it'll be a decision.
Okay, so one final thing, and we know that you had the split up with Gennady. He's going to be on the Hall of Fame ballot. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. A lot of that credit goes to you. I'm just hoping, I'm not trying to press you, but I'm hoping, because I host the Hall of Fame, I somehow hope if he gets inducted, I hope I see Abel Sanchez there. I don't know, will I? Will I?
Well, if I get the chance and I'm not doing anything as far as training and preparing other guys for a fight, I would like to go. I think, listen, we spent 9.5 years together. And we did great things and set a lot of records. He's a hell of a young man. He's done great with the new ambassadorship that he's got doing helping the amateurs. He's an intelligent person, and I would love to see him inducted. And sure, I would love to be there.
Yeah, and we hope to see you there. I
Definitely.
hope to see you fight week. I know you're going to be quite busy, and I know you are busy. We appreciate you taking some time out. Always great. I don't get to see you as much as I used to. I hope you know what? I look pretty damn good for 66 years old. I might come up there and start moving around and shaking and baking myself, baby.
Would love to see you up here.
All right, Abel, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, James. Have a great day, man.
All right, Abel Sanchez back with more Crawford and Canelo coming up.
I got two options. Option one, I can accept defeat. Option two, I can get up. I can get tougher. I can get faster. I can get stronger. And then I go get mine. I made my choice. Have you made yours?
Back in this corner of the podcast, a $169, boxing's biggest names, biggest stories, biggest fights, greatest memories and moments, and we certainly have a big fight that we've been talking about tonight at Allegiant Stadium. It's the redhead, my buddy Canelo Alvarez against my other pal, the guy that I've had docked as the top pound-for-pound guy for the past 7 or 8 years. Speaking of Doc, and speaking of pound-for-pound, nobody is a better third man inside the squared circle than the man joining us right now. His name is, of course, Harvey Dock. He'll be, of course, on the card tonight. He's worked Canelo versus Charlo in 2023, Canelo versus Berlanga in 2024, and he did the big one with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence in 2023 here in Las Vegas. As we welcome back to the program, Harvey Dock. How you doing?
I'm good, Smitty. I appreciate you having me. It's an honor to be here.
Always an honor to have you. You're the guy that I think right now, not trying to put any pressure on you, but I think you're the guy that does it better than anybody else right now. And we've got you on, and I set you up for this. You can say as much or as little. You're not doing the main event, so you can. Yeah. I think you're free to speak. As I toss to Lee Groves, who's prepared some stuff for you. Lee?
Okay. All right. Welcome back to the show, by the way.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Lee.
Yep. Well, as Smitty said, you officiated two of Canelo's more impressive recent fights, Jermell Charlo and Edgar Berlanga. What are your memories of working those fights, and what struck you about Alvarez as a fighter? What made him special?
Well, quite a few things. He's very smart in the ring. At this stage, he's very meticulous about how he attacks. He doesn't overdo it. He comes very methodical, but everything is well placed. His punches, that is. He moves with a purpose. He's not youthful in the sense that he's going to overwhelm you with volume, but when he does work, it's with a purpose. So he's gotten very smart over the years. So he's a very smart fighter, as is his opponent that night.
Yeah, very much so. And inside the ring, can you hear how do the punches sound from Canelo Alvarez? He's very accurate.
Yes, he's accurate, and he's a thumper.
He is.
Even when his punches land on the arms, you can hear them. They're like boom, boom. So he is definitely a thumping sort of puncher. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
how strong do you think he is?
Strong enough where I wouldn't want to get hit by him. If you just look at his track record based on how guys react when he does hit them, and like I said, from what I've heard, the punches up close. I would say he's very strong, and anyone wouldn't want to be in a position to get hit clean by him. He, he's a very strong fighter, a
And
human
you,
being.
and also, as Smitty said, you were the third man for what is widely regarded as Crawford's signature performance, his TKO over Errol Spence.
Yeah.
Describe what you saw that night from Crawford. It was awesome from where I was watching.
Yeah. So as an official, being up close and personal, we're watching from a different perspective. So we're looking for any rules violations. Is anyone hitting low? That sort of thing. So from an official's point of view, the first thing is that it was a clean fight by both guys. No one was actually breaking the rules. But as the fight went on, there was dominance right away. So from my perspective, I just had to keep a close eye on Errol and his deteriorating position in the fight, probably from around the third or fourth round on. Those my concerns for his well-being were initiated right away. When I say right away, I mean about the third, fourth round.
Yeah.
So yeah, Terence was dominant that night.
Break Terence Crawford down as a fighter. What does he do well? What does he not do well, if anything?
I don't know if there's anything he doesn't do well, but like Canelo, and I think once you reach the upper echelons of the sport, you're always dealing with smart fighters. They know what they want to do, and they know how to set their shots up. They know how to put you in position to land shots effectively. So Terrence does it like no other. He's very cagey. He sets a lot of shots up. He's tricky in that he can fight you from either stance, orthodox, southpaw. So he's just a brilliant, magnificent technician, and yeah, he does a lot of things well.
The,
No,
the
no
fact
one
that
thing.
they're so experienced and so cagey, so smart, when you're refereeing guys like that, does it make it easier to referee guys like that because they certainly know their way around the ring?
I would say easy in the sense that they don't break rules.
Yeah,
Most guys at the high end of the sport, because they've been doing it so long, they've realized what they can't get away with probably early in their career. So by the time those guys reach championship levels, they're pretty much clean fighters. So yeah, those guys, I wouldn't expect anything that's out of the ordinary in terms of rules when it comes to those guys. But like I said, when I'm watching from a rules perspective.
yeah, yeah. You also though were a fighter. Crawford is a little tiny bit taller. He's got 4 inches in reach. There's no doubt Canelo is the thicker of the two. He's the guy that's been a $168. One of the things I said about Crawford, I don't know if you got a chance to notice it in the Spence fight though. I believe if they actually got down and did bench press, I actually think Crawford might be a stronger physically man. He's really strong. He used to wrestle. Did you notice anything in him that displayed his strength?
Well, I think it was early in the fight. They got in a clinch and he pushed off. I thought Spence might be physically stronger, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
So in the clinches, Crawford was able to hold his own, and when he wanted to, he was able to push off, and Spence gave ground. So that was eye opening to a small degree.
But I think what you're saying when I listen, and again, you're in there doing your job as the third man, you've got their lives on the line. But there is a significance, I think, difference in punching power, though. Crawford's clearly the harder puncher.
I'm
sorry, Canelo's
Oh, Canelo.
Canelo.
Okay.
I got my C's wrong. Canelo even though Crawford punches from different angles, shots you don't see, when it comes to that thump, that ear, Canelo clearly is the harder puncher of the two.
Yes, but punching power has to land. So
Yes.
uh, he may be the harder puncher, but if it doesn't land, or if he doesn't land clean, then maybe Crawford's the harder puncher because he may land clean shots.
Yeah,
So
good point.
yeah, I mean, yes, if they were both punching like a stationary target that just measures punching power, I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
But in an actual fight, when there's defense and you may hit clean, one guy may be rolling with the punch, that all determines your punching power, the other guy's defense, and if you can land clean or not.
I think, Harvey, if Crawford wins this fight, it'll be just as much about his feet and his legs as with his fist. Was there much of a perspective? Because Canelo's a guy that we've said for a long time doesn't have the greatest feet in the game. Were you able to notice that in the dexterity and the maneuverability that Crawford just seems to be a much better athletic guy in the ring?
I wouldn't compare athleticism. And actually, when I'm in the ring, those types of things I'm really not focused on.
Yeah.
But if I go home and watch the replay, yeah, I'm impressed with Crawford's overall athleticism, his movement. Yes, and I agree. He probably does have a little bit more athleticism than Canelo. But just like punching power, that doesn't necessarily guarantee him victory either. But yes, Crawford is he's pretty athletic. To your point, yes, he is, and that goes back to, like I said, he's very effective fighting out of both stances. So he is an athletic guy, but more than that, he's a smart fighter, and both of them are very smart. Again, they both have certain qualities, but yeah, you might give Crawford the athletic advantage if you're only going by athleticism.
Mm-hmm. One last question from me.
Sure.
One of your duties as the chief guy, the referee, is to deliver the instructions in the dressing room.
Correct.
And how would you assess both men temperamentally? How do you perceive them in that situation?
Uh, you know, both of those guys in the dressing room, when I spoke to them, were very calm, very calm. Canelo was so calm it was scary. Uh, when I finished giving instructions, when he fought Berlanga, he was sitting down, his legs were kicked up on a chair, and I went through my whole spiel about what I expect from him. And when I was done, I said, "Do you have any questions, concerns?" And he had a little smile on his face, and he said, "No, we're fine." But it was the way he said it. He might as well have been on a beach sipping a margarita or something. He was unusually calm. But Crawford was calm too in a big fight with Errol Spence. He was pretty calm as well. So I don't think those guys suffer from nerves going into a fight. At least from my perspective in the dressing room, both guys are very calm and relaxed.
Much like Harvey Dock, you kind of exude that as an official. That's one of the things I like about you so much. Again, I won't mention names. Some of the other guys just seem to get rattled and to want to make themselves so much of the action, where you only make yourself part of the action when you need to make yourself part of the action. Some of the great things about great referees is even their movement. I watch the way you and you continue to improve after 21 years. You can make a pick if you want. How do you see this thing playing out tonight?
Oh no, I wouldn't make a pick, but what I can tell you from a fan's point of view is, I think like everyone, I'm just hoping for a great fight. There's a lot of eyes on the sport that night, so I'm hoping they produce an entertaining fight where people, no matter how they voted, you have a lot of people that gamble. No matter whether your favorite guy won or he lost, I hope they deliver an entertaining night. That's actually what I'm hoping for.
It seems like, too, based on what you said, you have so much respect for Canelo and what you saw with him, with Charlo and Berlanga, and with Crawford, with what you saw in Spence. And thank God you stopped that fight when you did. It seems like what you might be saying is the guy that executes his game plan more is really the one that's probably going to win that fight. Maybe it's not as much about size and this and that is who's going to make their game plan work tonight.
Yeah, I think though these types of fights come down to their preparation. You know, fans make their picks, but it actually comes down to preparation. And when you look at it from that point of view, nobody really knows who prepared really well. You know, because we don't see how these guys train. But if both guys are clicking on all cylinders, if they had great preparation going into the fight, we as fans should really get a great fight.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll get a chance to catch up with you. I got a chance to catch up with Harvey in New Jersey a few months back when I was doing the ESPN fight. I think you introduced me to your dad, I think.
I did. Yes, I did.
That was great. And Pop had some Smitty swag going on to him.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully we're going to get you. I'm hoping you come hang out with us in June in Canastota at the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yes, I'm going to try and make it my point to be there this year or next year.
And Lee, if he keeps up this, he's going to be there anyway someday, isn't he?
He's certainly on track to do that. Very much.
Yes, he is. I think he's the best in the game as the third man inside the squared circle. He is Harvey Dock. Thanks for joining us, Harvey. Appreciate it.
Hey, Smitty, thanks for having me. Lee, thank you also for having me. I appreciate it.
I got two options. Option one, I can accept defeat. Option two, I can get up. I can get tougher. I can get faster. I can get stronger. And then I go get mine. I made my choice. Have you made yours?
Back in this corner of the podcast, $169. Boxing's biggest names, boxing's biggest stories, boxing's biggest fights, greatest memories and moments. We cover it all. And we're previewing the big one that'll take place this evening at Allegiant Arena. It's the redhead, Canelo Alvarez against Terence Bud Crawford for a plethora of marbles, belts, and a whole hell of a lot of money. And we have combined what I'm calling my Fighter Fest with the fabulous Fistic Five, consisting of Rougarou, Regis Prograis, former buck 40-pound champ ×2, the Pocket Rocket, Wayne McCullough, the former bantamweight champion of the world, El Diamante, Raul Marquez, former 154-pound champion, Pittsburgh Kid, Paul Spadafora, former lightweight champion of the world, and the Flushing Flash, Kevin Kelley, former featherweight champion of the world. By the way, their combined record, 207 wins, only 25 losses, 4 draws, 129 KOs with an .877 winning percentage and more, Lee.
Yeah, and definitely more. And these guys have a combined 19 victories in widely recognized world title fights. So we've got ourselves a heck of a panel here.
I don't understand something, though. How come my frickin' record wasn't put on this? Never mind. I got my claim to fame right there in that 1 second knockout I got in my brilliant career. Welcome, guys. Lee, take it over because all of these guys got things to do. Take it over. Go.
Well, welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to the room. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the following questions. Question number 1. The weigh-in will have already taken place by the time this show is posted, but I'll still pose this question to you. If you were Bud, how much would you weigh? Do you go the full 168 or do you go a few pounds under that to emphasize the speed? Start out with Paul.
Me personally, I really don't think that's even going to be a factor. I think that Terence he'll be all right at that weight class. I don't think that and like getting heavier, getting lighter is going to matter as long as he comes in just being an athletic fighter that he is, as great as he is. I think that's going to be that'll be it.
Okay, how about you, Wayne?
I think it's like when Floyd Mayweather moved up the divisions, he came in with whatever weight class he was best for him. Didn't have to be 154 for one of his fights. He was like 48 or 47. So I think that it'll be, if Crawford comes in 166, 67, and steps in the ring about 172, I think it's a perfect weight for him then. And he'll be faster, stronger. But we all know Canelo, he's faster and stronger anyway. So it's not going to make a difference no matter what. So it'll just come down to the fight plan.
All right. How about you, Regis?
I mean, I think whatever makes him comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw Crawford on the pads and stuff like that. He looks bigger, but of course, I think his gift was his grit, his mindset, his speed. So I wouldn't want him to, put on too much weight to, lose his speed, because that's his gift. But at the same time, I mean, you fighting Canelo, somebody that is so strong, so he's still gonna need some type of dense muscle to be able to take those punches. So, I mean, I don't even know how to answer that question. I know the experts here, they'll answer it, but I don't know how to answer that, because I mean, it all depends on like how comfortable Crawford is. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that question.
How about the Flushing Flash? What do you think?
Well, the way I look at it is that you can't change the fact of history. If you look back at history, Hagler fought Sugar Ray Leonard, and he gave you the kind of blueprint a little bit. Fighters don't gain weight that slows them down. They lose weight to make them faster, especially with a guy like Canelo. If you're going to fight Canelo, you got to be quicker. Step inside when he throws his wide shots and then be able to get away. So I believe that the weight hindrance, I mean, going up, this is very rare, because most of the time you bring a fighter down. He's letting his opponent gain weight and fight him at 68 and be stronger than him, and you're going to try to fight it out with him. So it's kind of dangerous what he's doing. If he succeeds with this, it'll be the first time I've seen it done, because most of the guys that fight guys bigger than them wind up bringing the guy down in weight, number one. That's number one they do. Number two, I've heard about his sparring, so there's certain things that I think that could have been done better. But we'll find out in the tail end. We'll definitely find out if his idea is transforming what the original state is of boxing. Because it's been done in the past.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Raul? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I look at it, different. Like, I mean, everybody's body, is different. I remember me just moving up from 154 to 160. I mean, those guys were giants when I fought Jermaine Taylor, even Giovanni Lorenzo, Arthur Abraham. Those 6 pounds meant a lot. But, Crawford is a guy that I've heard, and I know people in his camp, that he's always walked around he's walked around as high as 180, 185, coming down to 154, 147. So, maybe his body's used to doing that. But fight night, I mean, whenever they weigh in, it's whatever he feels comfortable at, whatever his body tells him. He's the one that's been in camp for months, preparing for this fight, trying to build up to that weight. So it's a matter of everybody's different. Everybody's body's different. I do think that Crawford is a special guy. You get guys like this every now and then. That's why they had guys like Manny Pacquiao, Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, that have always gone up in weight, several weight classes. And if anybody could do that, I think it's going to be Crawford. And we'll see.
By the way, Raul will be calling the fight on the Spanish end, I think, with Abner Mares, I believe. And you mentioned, somebody mentioned Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. A lot of people are comparing this to that. And we'll hear from Sugar Ray Leonard on this program a little bit later on. Continue, Lee.
Yeah, and speaking of Crawford and the weight, his physique is going to look very different from what we've been used to. Has he done this the right way? And I'm going to do this in reverse order. I'll start with Raul.
Tough question, man. We'll see. But what I do know is that Crawford has always sparred, even when he was at a lower weight class. He's always sparred bigger guys in camp. He's got that Steve Nelson guy that he sparred, 168 pounder. So he's always sparred big guys. You see him sparring Shakur. He likes to, it's different styles being thrown at him. The speed factor, the power, the strength factor. He's a guy that,
again, as far as little guys, middle-sized guys, big guys, I think he's just gonna adjust. He's a guy that adjusts, and we'll see if he did it the right way. We will see.
And one of the stories that has been on the internet the last couple of days is the pictures of Crawford. There was a picture on Instagram
They're
that showed him
bullshit. They're bullshit.
Yeah.
They're bullshit. They're
Yeah,
not.
Some of them,
those-
I think they're over
Yeah.
exaggerating.
Yeah,
With the
it
size
looked
and the
like
muscles.
Lee Haney's body and Crawford's
Yeah.
head. Yeah.
right.
Keep going,
And then
Lee.
there was another picture where he looked a lot softer, and it turns out it was a couple months ago. I don't know. We don't know what to think until they actually step inside the ring.
It'd be like putting Wayne McCullough's head on Schwarzenegger's body with what they did. Although that's an interesting sight, by the way. There.
So what are your thoughts, Kevin, on his physique?
Well, the rules don't change, and when you add muscle weight, it takes more energy, so you get tired quicker. That's number one. And number two, it makes you a little bit slower because you got more mass to move. The idea, like I said, this is historical. So if you look back in hindsight, did adding muscle and help him improve or get him stronger? No. The strength you have is the strength you're going to have. You get a little bit stronger, but this is about punching, and punching power is essential. So at the end of the day here, can he hurt Canelo? I wouldn't worry about hurting Canelo at all because I don't think the man could be hurt. I seen him get hit, and I commentated the fight with Triple G, and I seen G hit him on the chin, and he didn't go anywhere. So he's got to have a plan. I think whatever plan that he's got, hopefully it works because he's got to stick and move. And hopefully I think that's what he's thinking. But
okay,
we're going to see it the tail end. You know what I'm saying? Every week I used to jump. 1 week I'm Canelo, 1 week I'm Crawford, 1 week I'm Canelo, 1 week I'm Crawford. But, it's crazy. This right now is a little crazy. See if he can withstand the punching power of Canelo.
Yep.
How about you, Regis?
The physique, yeah. I mean, it's just like Raul said, man. It depends. It's like a case by case type of thing. I don't know. For me, it is dangerous fighting somebody weight class. They have weight class for a reason, So you talk about two weight classes, and you're not just fighting, anybody. He didn't even test the water at 160, and now he will go to 168, and he not just fighting a regular 168 pound. He fighting Canelo. Canelo, one of the best that's been in the ring. So it's like I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna play out. For me, I had my opinions from the jump. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, what Raul said, man. It all depends on him. It depends on Crawford and how he feels. But it's a big task in front of him for sure.
Wayne?
Just like Regis said there, when a guy moves up, you think you taste the water before he fights for a belt. Crawford was 150 for his last fight. 13 months, that's an inactivity as well. And he struggled in that fight. It was a close fight. And now he's gone up 2 more divisions where he hasn't tested the waters. Where Canelo, he's been to light heavyweight twice, won and lost, come back down again. And he's come back to the weight class he belongs in. And Crawford's no mug. He's an undisputed champion in 2 divisions, and he's trying to make a 3rd. But he's going to be ready for whatever Canelo has. Canelo's going to be ready for whatever Crawford has. And I just think it's going to go into the game plan. Punch power usually diminishes when a guy moves up. Certain fighters it didn't. But, it's going to come down to the plan of the fight and the chin as well. But I'm still sort of swaying Canelo is still a bit bigger.
What are your thoughts, Paul?
I agree with what Raul said about Crawford sparring big guys, sparring little guys. I think he's going to adjust no matter what. I don't think that's really going to be it. Me personally, I just don't think that's going to be a factor in the fight. My personal opinion about the whole factor is the attitude on Terence Crawford. How is he going to? What is he? He's such a dog. He's going to be there. And you got to remember. I mean, they do make weight classes for a reason, and if you're not getting used to getting hit by them type of shots, that could make a big difference.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So is this a bridge too far, a river too deep, a mountain too high for Bud to climb? I think Lee, you're going to get their predictions.
I will after I ask a couple more questions. One, it's obvious that Canelo is not the same fighter as he was at his peak, and he didn't look particularly good in his last fight against a very mobile guy in William Skull. Does Canelo's lack of foot speed concern you? And I'm going to start with Paul.
No, it don't. Not for me. I think that I don't even think it's going to be about that. I don't me personally. Bro, like I said, like when we talked earlier in this thing, Terrence is a very, very, very stubborn dog. Like he's like a dog. He don't care. I mean, I don't know how if you can change in one night. Maybe you can. I don't know. I just never seen no one do that. People usually go back to doing what they usually do. You know what I mean? And I think that I think that the game plan got to be really really tight, and he got to stick to the game plan. Whatever, I'm sure they got a great game plan for him in order to pull that up. Pull that out.
Wayne.
I think
What
that
about- Go ahead.
Canelo's last fight, Skull was a different type of fight. Skull's more of a mover, and it's made Canelo look a little bit bad. But Crawford's not going to run. He's going to move, but he's going to be right in front of Canelo. He's going to be trading with him, throwing big bombs, hooks, body, head, and Canelo's going to stand toe-to-toe with him as well. So, but it's going to come down to the clean, accurate shots, the jabs, the body shots, the uppercuts, the hooks, and like to say the game plan that somebody has, and not going to give in to each other. That's the type of fight I think it's going to be, and the movement's not going to be a problem at all for either guy.
Regis?
Yeah, same thing. I think Crawford not gonna move that much. You know, like a Skull was a different type of fighter. He moved. I mean, he
Right.
kind of ran around a lot. But I don't think Crawford is gonna do that. Crawford is, just like everybody. Everybody knows, the whole world knows Crawford is a dog. He's gonna come to try to fight. From what I understand, he's gonna come and try to knock Canelo out, which I don't think is gonna happen. But he's gonna come. So I don't think he's gonna go out there and try to move around. And he's not gonna try to. He doesn't. He doesn't want to make it boring and move like Skull did. He wants to put on a statement. So I don't think that's gonna be a problem. I think it's gonna be for me. I think it should be a great fight because both of them are coming to fight. Just like Turkey said, he don't want to see the Tom and Jerry cat and mouse stuff no more. He wants to see real fights. So I think, and both of them know, both Crawford and Canelo, they both know, like, we need to come to fight. And I think both of them have a lot to prove. I think Crawford has more to prove than Canelo, but at the same time, I don't think that the foot movement is going to be. I don't think Crawford is going to utilize that too much. I mean, he might a little bit. He might go out there and try to move a little bit, but I don't think he's not going to. From what I think, I don't think he's going to try to move like Skull did. Skull kind of ran around. He didn't want to get touched at all. He didn't want to make it a fight. It looked like he just came to get paid. But I don't think Crawford is coming to get paid. I mean, he's coming up. He's coming to fight.
What are your thoughts, Kevin?
And overall, can you repeat the question? Because I was.
Well, Canelo, what are you concerned?
Canelo's
about
feet. Canelo's feet are slow. Are you concerned about Canelo's feet?
Yeah.
No, I'm more concerned with what Crawford does in the fight than Canelo does because he's got the upper hand. He's got the weight advantage. He's got the strength. He's got all that advantage. Crawford's got to come and meet him or not meet him and be elusive and be quick. Like I said, the history books prove itself there that you're not going to beat history. So I'm hoping that he has a plan and he sticks to the plan as well. Whatever plan it is, I don't know if he's trying to take the punching power of Canelo and neutralize it, because the question mark is, like I said, how does he plan on winning this fight? Because I've been talked to many world champions over and over, even world champion trainers over and over, and said if they could see something that I don't see. And that's the major key. Will his feet get him around, cut the ring off? I don't know. I've never seen Canelo really cut the ring off on movers. He's kind of not that good with cutting the ring off.
Yeah. Raul, are you concerned about Canelo's feet?
Well, look, when he fought a Skull, like I look at it this way. This is my opinion, like when he fought Skull, if Canelo is the face of boxing, if he's the guy, the pound for pound guy, well, he should have cut off the ring, instead of following him around. He followed him around. I know he had a difficult style to fight. It's hard to fight a guy that runs around in circles because, I was an aggressive minded type of guy. When I fought in the amateurs or even when I fought guys that just ran, your job is to cut off the ring, pin him on the ropes, get him on the corners, and I don't think he did enough of that. If he tries to follow around Crawford, man, that's the wrong idea, man. Crawford's got more, he's got a lot more skills. He's gonna counterpunch him all night long. Crawford's gonna move in circles. He's not gonna run. He's gonna move in circles. He's gonna give him angles. He's gonna go in and out, kind of like Sugar Ray Leonard did with Marvin Hagler, and he's gonna pick him apart. The thing about it, Crawford shouldn't get in a firefight with Canelo. He might get a little bit too excited, where like in the later rounds where he's catching him with 3 or 4 punch combinations, and then he gets caught. I mean, look at Amir Khan. Amir Khan, way smaller guy. You saw what Crawford did to Amir Khan. Canelo and Amir Khan, it was a close fight. I mean, Amir Khan was in the fight until he got a little bit too overconfident, and all it took is just one shot, and he knocked them the crap out. It was nasty.
Yeah.
So he's got to make sure he doesn't do that.
Yeah, I was at that fight and called the exact round. Let's stay with El Diamante. Who's going to win, and how are they going to win?
Listen, it's a back and forth fight. It's a very interesting fight. We know Canelo has the strength. He's been there solid at 168 for many years. I don't think he's the same Canelo from the past. He's got to be like the Canelo when he fought Caleb Plant. Because, after that fight, he lost to Bivol. And ever since then, he heard Munguia. He heard, what's his name? The guy, Charlo. He heard a lot of those guys, and he didn't really jump on him. It's like he was just content with winning by decision. And Crawford, I think, like Spadafora was saying, I think he's a dog, and he's stubborn. He's a stubborn dog. He doesn't believe in losing. He's never lost. He doesn't know how to lose. He wants this bad. He wants to beat the face of boxing. I think he's got the style to do it. We know guys like Austin Trout, it is Randy Lara, who left-handed guys, even John Ryder, who was a lefty and moved around a lot, gave Canelo some problems with the movement. I think if anybody can do it, it would be Crawford. I think if anybody can do that, it's Crawford. And I think Crawford's going to pull out a decision, a close unanimous decision.
I know Kevin Kelley's busy. Kevin, who do you like and why?
I was, for the beginning there, I was back and forth.
If Crawford moves like you do in this video, then he'll definitely win the fight if he moves like you.
Yeah.
Who do you
I'm
like?
always moving. I'm always moving. That's why I'm the Flash. So at the end of the day, I see back and forth activity. I've been saying Canelo, then I say Crawford, then I say Canelo, then I say Crawford. The week of the fight, by the information that I received just by watching what Canelo was doing, I would say I got the favorite on Canelo. Long distance, long run. I think that it'll be a 12-round decision.
Okay.
I think Bud might fall short of succeeding, because unless Canelo fought Mayweather, and I look at it like he understands the idea about the boxing part. He does understand it. He's experienced it at the highest level. So I'm just going. My favorite swings a little bit towards Canelo.
Okay.
And Crawford's got to make me believe that he can beat Canelo.
All right. Well, you like Canelo by decision, Paul?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Canelo by decision too. Also.
Okay.
And I'm strictly going on the way Crawford handles himself in the boxing ring and the way he handles himself even outside the boxing ring. I'm just saying like how much of a dog he is, and I think that type of dog coming up at them weight classes, and they make weight classes for a reason. So I'm going to lean towards Canelo because of that.
Pocket Rocket.
This fight we're talking about, hopefully it's going to be a great fight. First of all.
Yeah.
You want first fight at Legion Stadium, big crowd, and Crawford Canelo. I think it's going to be they're going to light with each other. The punch part is going to be there, hard body shots. Crawford's left the body. Canelo's going to dive in with that left hook to head and body, which works good against southpaws, and break each other down. I think Canelo will win on either points or a possible late stoppage with the left hook. I really believe that. I think Crawford might get caught coming in against a bigger guy, and hopefully it'll be good enough to have a second fight, maybe a trilogy, the end Canelo's career.
And Rougarou.
Canelo. I've been saying it from the get go.
You have.
Canelo. I've been saying it from the get go. I got Canelo, man. Two weight classes. It's a big difference. You know, like I said earlier, Crawford never even went up to 160. You know, so he going to the 168, not just fighting anybody. He fighting Canelo. You know, not Canelo, not the same person, but it's still Canelo. So I have Canelo, but I would say this: if Crawford could beat him, I feel like Crawford. We gotta put him top five best ever. Would y'all agree? Top five
Yeah,
best ever.
absolutely.
We got
Yep.
to maybe top three best ever. I mean, it
Yeah,
depends.
that it'll be
I mean,
incredible.
if he can pull this off, you gotta say. I mean, undisputed in three different divisions. I mean,
Well,
you
I'm
gotta put
I'm
him.
kind of old school, and so I would there's some guys that, and I love Bud. I called Bud number one before anybody in the sport did years ago, and of
Mhm.
course I haven't made my pick. That is coming up. I'm probably going to listen to the Spanish version of the show because even though I don't understand Spanish, I love Raul. Had a chance to work with him
Mhm.
recently on ESPN Plus, and Netflix has 65 frickin' announcers. Half of them I've never frickin' heard of doing the broadcast. Thank you, Dana White, for bringing all of these guys on that don't know anything about boxing. But I'm sure, Raul, you will do a great job and look forward to watching you. And all of you, I appreciate you taking the time out. I know you all got stuff you're
Yeah.
working on. Stay healthy, and we'll talk to all of you after the fight.
Maybe.
Thanks, guys. I got two options. Option one, I can accept defeat. Option two, I can get up. I can get tougher. I can get faster. I can get stronger. And then I go get mine. I made my choice. Have you made yours? Back, one final segment to go in this quarter of the podcast, 169. Crawford, Canelo-Crawford. What about the undercard, Lee? How does it look?
We know, first of all, both of us wish our friend Tom Yankello the
Yes.
best as his fighter Ivan Dichko takes on Jermaine Franklin as part of the prelim show. But as for the main card, it will begin with a fight featuring undefeated Saudi prospect Muhammad Al-Akel in his first scheduled 10-rounder. He's fighting just 28 days after scoring a first-round knockout, the first knockout of his brief pro career, and I expect him to move his record to 6-0. The next fight may end up being the fight of the night, as Christian Mbili will defend his secondary WBC title at 168 against power-punching Lester Martinez.
I've done a bunch of his fights.
Sure have. Both are undefeated. Both are action fighters. I think this has knockout written all over it, and I think it'll be Mbili who will get it, probably in the later rounds. Finally, the co-main event will see Callum Walsh take on Fernando Vargas Jr., one of the three fighting sons of Fernando Vargas Sr., in a scheduled 10-round super welterweight fight. Now, based on what I have seen, the styles should mesh well, and both men have shown some vulnerabilities. But in the end, I'm going to pick Walsh to win, and don't be surprised if this one will also end inside the distance, because these guys are action fighters too. So that's it as far as the undercard is concerned.
Yeah, I don't know how they got Callum as a co-main event. I think he's Dana's fighter, and they're trying to make him out to be the next Canelo Alvarez. If he stays on the outside, he should win. If Vargas gets on the inside, I think he could hurt Callum. I wonder about his beard. We've spoken about so many different angles with this fight. We've had the trainers on, Tommy and Abel, the fighters on, referee on. The psychology of the fight. It's sometimes it's underrated, sometimes it's overrated. But when I think about this fight, and I thought about it for years, we were the first ones really talking about it years ago on this program. What came to mind with me was April the 6th, 1987. My good pal Sugar Ray Leonard against the marvelous Marvin Hagler. Because, of course, Ray going up in weight, he had a lot of inactivity going up against the killer, a marvelous Marvin Hagler. Obviously, Crawford would be Ray, Canelo would be Marvin. And I remember when I had Ray on the first time I had him on the television show, I asked him about that fight. And here's a couple of clips. One One where he puts knee on the spot for picking against him, and another where he talks about the psychology of the fight and where he knew that he had Marvin's number. Take a listen and a look. That fight with Marvin Hagler was one of the few times I ever picked against you going into a fight. Just, I just thought that
So why'd you pick against me?
You were off, for 3 years, and I did not, with his aggression, I thought that he would be just too strong for you. I thought you'd survive the fight, but I thought you'd be beaten. But I am one that thinks that I think you won that fight. There are those who will still argue it was a close decision. I really thought, because, at the end of the day, there's a thing called ring generalship that people don't bring up a lot. You did a whole hell of a lot more of what you wanted to do that night than Marvin was able to do. And Marvin, it's not like you didn't go against the rope and offer him an opportunity. You went against the ropes a lot during that fight, and still, I thought you won the fight. Going into that fight, did you have the game plan that you would utilize during the fight? Did you have that plan?
When I walked to that ring, and you can observe my walk, I was so focused. I was so together, tunnel vision. I got into the ring and I felt good. I just felt it. And I felt great. I was going to win. And then at one point, when we were walking around, when Hagler's in the ring, we were walking towards each other. And I said, Ray, turn away, because if you don't turn away, he's not going to turn away. He's going to bump into you. Then I said, no, do it. I kept walking, and he turned away. I said, I got him. And then when the bell rung, and I was out there, and I said, it still works. Because I was hitting him. I was, pretty fast. And he kept saying, slow down, you little bitch. Fight like a man. Fight me like a man. I knew that I had gotten to his head. So I felt better. And as the rounds went by, I said, I got it.
Well, Lee, the way I see it, there's nothing else to do but do what we do at this part, and that's make our picks. But before that, though, because I'm still vacillating, and you know that I'm not usually given to ambiguity and ambivalence, but tell me some numbers that might close the deal on which way I go.
First of all, I took a look at the numbers, and they tell me that we're not going to see Hagler versus Hearns because neither guy produces much volume. The typical 168-pounder throws 51 punches per round, but in his last 5 fights, Canelo's averaged 34.8. And worse yet, in his last fight against William Skoll, he threw only 152 punches in 12 rounds. And that's the second lowest total that ever recorded in a 12-round world title fight tracked by CompuBox. I think he's going to throw more here, but, I wouldn't be surprised if it's around 35, 40 punches per round. And as for Crawford, he's averaged 44.7 punches per round in his last 5 fights. And if you throw out the David Avanesian fight, in which he averaged 103, that number plummets to 35.5, almost identical to Canelo's 34.8. So based on this, we're more likely to see Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky than Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo. Now, in terms of accuracy, Canelo has been more accurate. In his last 5 fights, Canelo has landed 40% of his total punches and 50% of his power shots, compared to Crawford's 33% overall and 41% power. Canelo is also the more dedicated body puncher, as body shots accounted for 29% of his total connects compared to 21% for Crawford. And finally, both are very, very good defensively. In fact, they're almost equal in that department. In their last 5 fights, Canelo has yielded 24% overall and 32% power, while Crawford has yielded 23% and 31% in the power shots. Neither man is in their physical or chronological peak. Canelo turned 35 in July, while Crawford will turn 38 2 weeks after this fight. But Canelo's probably older in terms of ring age because he's about to fight for the 68th time as a professional, and he's logged 520 rounds as a pro, while Bud is fighting for the 42nd time and has recorded only 245 rounds. So in that respect, he is much fresher. And that's as far as the stats are concerned. That's what I got.
Okay, well then who do you have to win and why?
Well, I'm worried about Canelo's slow feet, and I'm worried about Bud's chronic inactivity. I mean, Crawford has only fought once a year, every year since 2020, and he didn't look that great in beating Israel Madrimov 14 months ago when he moved up from 147 to 154. He's now jumping 14 more pounds. I'm also a little concerned about Bud's chin against a proven power hitter at 168 like Canelo, and here's why. And you actually pointed these things out to me. He was stunned by Yuri Orkis Gamboa, who was a former featherweight titleist, and one could argue that he was actually floored by Kavaliauskas in their fight. Meanwhile, Canelo's only has one of the sport's most durable chins. The only time he was really hurt was back in May 2010 when Jose Miguel Cotto, the older brother of Miguel Cotto, stunned him in round one.
Was at that fight, yeah, and he recovered quickly and won easily.
Yeah, he won in the ninth round. He floored Cotto in round two, and he stopped him in round nine. He was. I could be wrong, but based on what I've seen, if the fight is going to end in a knockout, it's going to be Canelo who is going to score it. Now, this will not be a barn burner, but I think this will be an edge of your seat fight in which you'll see two masters go thought for thought as much as punch for punch. And I think Bud will be strong enough to hang with Canelo, and I think Canelo will be smart enough to hang with Crawford. But in the end, size matters and power matters. I can see Canelo banging the arms like he did against Callum Smith and methodically slowing Crawford down in the second half. As great as Bud is, and he is, I see him falling just short of reaching the mountaintop. It's going to be competitive, but my pick is Canelo Alvarez by decision. Well, how about you, Smitty? How do you see this fight?
And you mentioned that mountain. Is it a bridge too far, a river too deep, or a mountain too high? It wasn't for Ray Leonard against Hagler. There's so many things that I'm wondering about in preparation for this fight for Bud, working with the snack team and wondering what kind of snacks they've been giving him and what kind of real body will we see. I've said all along to you in the lead up to this, I think he needs to weigh under 160 pounds, 59, 58, maybe to 60. He doesn't even need to worry about gaining the weight. He's already a very strong guy. Putting on a little weight to absorb the punishment, that could help. But then does that negate your legs? Does that negate your feet? Does that negate your speed, your dexterity and elasticity and all that stuff? We don't know. That's what we don't know. If he fights the way he's capable of fighting Crawford, if he fights the way he's capable of fighting, and I think it's not just going to be as a left-hander, as a southpaw. I think he's going to need to. This is a different kind of fight. I think he's going to need to switch when he needs to switch. Canelo's smart, so go lefty, 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 which is giving the redhead problems. Trout, Lara. But then when Canelo starts to figure that out, then switch back the other way. This is why Crawford has more athleticism and he has more ways to win. There are more ways that he can win this fight than Canelo. But Canelo's one way to win is pretty impressive, and that's simply he's the bigger guy naturally. He hits much harder. He's got a brilliant chin. And back to the psychological thing, talking about the Ray Leonard thing, to go back to that, I think there's a much more psychological pressure, though, on Canelo Alvarez than Crawford.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win this fight, it's going to really hurt him. He couldn't beat a guy that's coming up from 135 pounds, whatever. And he never fought Benavidez. So all kinds of stuff will tarnish that red hair a little tiny bit. Yeah. So he's got, I think, all the pressure, whereas Crawford's coming up and doing this giant thing. And, so I don't think the psychological stuff for him is nearly as difficult as it can be perhaps for Canelo. But back to the whole thing, I'm going to kind of simplify it and bob and weave my way around this by saying, if Crawford stays on his feet for 12 rounds, if there's not a moment where he's really, really hurt, I think he'll win a 12-round decision. And that's going to end up being my pick is for Crawford to win by decision. But if he goes down at all during the fight, even if he gets up, I think he loses. Because I think if he's noticeably hurt at any time during the fight, it doesn't just have to be from a headshot. It could be Canelo's one of the best body punchers in recent times. He also does that old school stuff of hitting your arms and beating your arms up. He did that to Smith, I think. Beat his arms up, and so I think that if Crawford is able to negate all of that and be nearly perfect for 36 minutes, I think he can win the fight. I've never seen him fight like that. We were trying to think of a fight. I think it was the Postal fight.
Victor Postal, yeah.
Postal, where he boxed. I was at that fight, and he boxed impressively and was patient. Can he be patient? What we love about him is he's been a dog, and he got those 10 KOs or whatever it was in a row.
Yeah.
Kind of patient against Madrimov, but that's because Madrimov was moving all over the place. You know, you can go all over the place, but at the end of the day, I think I've been with Crawford this long, and I don't want to pull away from him. So I just think he'll win a 12-round unanimous decision. But if at any part of the fight, second round, 12th round, if he gets knocked down, I think he'll be the loser in the fight. He maintains on his feet. I think he wins a 12-round decision. I think you brought out some wonderful points, too, about the way we're going to – I think it is an edge-of-your-seat fight, but there'll be a lot of times you'll just be on the edge of your seat because it's high stakes. It is Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky. It's not checkers, man. It is pugilistic chess at its highest level. What we hope is that it produces a great fight, a clean fight, no controversy. Let it be.
Please.
You know what it be. Anyway, I think we should take some time to thank everybody that who all joined us. I've forgotten already. Let's see. We've got Tommy Yankello, Abel Sanchez.
Yeah, we had the fighters. We had Wayne McCullough. We had Raul Marquez, Regis Prograis, Kevin Kelley, Paul Spadafora.
Mystic 5, yeah.
Mystic
Harvey Dock, the referee, and of course Lee Groves. And thank Sugar Ray Leonard. We actually were trying to get Ray on, but we did the next best thing. We went to the best library and all of boxing, and that is in this corner, the television show. Well, I guess we're going to have some stuff to talk about next week. It's Canelo, it's Crawford, it's Canelo. Who wins it? Enjoy it. So long, everybody.